Consuelo athletes, quick lesson today to end chapter 4, and then you will have the thrill of taking the chapter 4 test. What we're going to do is solve quadratic equations by quadratic formula. Now, how have we solved quadratic equations before? First of all, by factoring. That's the main way we're solving, by factoring if you can do it. But what if it didn't factor? Last time, we looked at completing the square. Well, there's another way besides completing the square. And when I'm done with this, you're probably going to say to yourself, why didn't he tell us about this before? This seems much easier. Well, if I told you about this first, then you wouldn't know how to do it by completing the square, because you would just say, I'm not going to bother doing it by completing the square, other than the fact that I'm going to make you. So, but that idea of completing the square is very important later on in math. Okay, so it's my job to teach you how to do it now. But this we're going to do by quadratic formula. Okay? So first of all, again, what has to be true? It has to be equal to 0, and it has to be quadratic. Okay? Now, what you need to do is figure out what A, B, and C are. A is not the first thing, B is not the second thing, and C is not the third thing. A is the coefficient of the x squared. B is the coefficient of the x, and C is just the constant. And you just have to memorize this formula. Now, let me make a real quick comment about this formula. And it's just a matter of plugging numbers into a formula. It's not this. Okay, this is not the quadratic formula. What is? This is. That negative, okay, this negative out here, that negative is not to the whole fraction. It's only to the b in the numerator, okay? It's like saying this. What if I gave you negative 2 plus 3 over 5? What's that? That's negative 1. But if I give you negative 2 plus 3 all over 5, that's 1/5. They're not the same thing. In the first case, the negative goes to the whole fraction. In the second case, it only goes to the 2 because that division bar that makes the fraction goes under the negative. So I know it seems picky, but it's wrong if you don't do it that way. Okay, let me get rid of this. Okay, so make sure the negative goes under. Oh, sorry. The negative has the bar under it. So that bar has to go all the way under the entire numerator. Okay, so let's just take a quick example. And you can solve this by completing the square. You can do it by quadratic formula, quite frankly. I usually use quadratic formula if it's left up to me. That's easier. But sometimes I'm going to make you do it by completing the square. Okay, so what's A? It's the coefficient of the x squared, which is 4. What's B? It's the coefficient of x, which is not 8, but negative 8. And C is the constant that has no x. That's negative 7. So you just plug numbers in to this formula, and we have negative 8, plus and minus the entirety of the square root of the entirety of negative 8 squared minus 4 times negative 7 all over 2 times 4. You simplify it. So first of all, you have to write the formula, simplify it some more. I'm not going to go through how to take a square root, but if you can take the square root, which in this case you can, you do so, and then you end up with this. Now, may I cancel the 8s? No, you may not. Why not? Because there's a plus or minus right here. Can I cancel the 4 and the 8? No, you may not. Why not? Because there's a plus or minus, so you just can't cancel. Remember, any shortcut you want to take, if you see a plus or minus, you can't do it. But what you can do is factor a 4 out of the numerator, and now you can cancel the 4 and the 8, leaving you with 2 plus and minus square root of 11 all over 2. Remember, that's two numbers, 2 plus square root of 11 over 2 and 2 minus square root of 11 over 2. Okay, that's it. End of chapter 4. Test very shortly. Woohoo! Bye-bye.